Friends don't like my 25F boyfriend, 29M. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years and we are planning on getting engaged soon. Despite us being together for a long time, a lot of my friends have not met my boyfriend in person. Once I turned 18, I spread my wings and basically didn't come home after that. So a lot of my friendships with my high school friends have been sustained over text, Snapchats, phone calls, and Zoom rather than in person. Recently one of my friends met my boyfriend in person for the first time and it didn't go well. She basically hated him. He has a very dry, sarcastic sense of humor, which I love, and basically every time he spoke she looked super offended. So after he realized she didn't like him, he basically stopped talking and she hated him for that too. She made it clear that she didn't approve of him. And I suspect that if she doesn't like him in person, neither will any of my other friends in that group. It's so frustrating because all of his friends love me and I can easily hang out with any of them, both on my own and with him present. I wish my friends could have a similar friendship with my boyfriend. But obviously I'm not planning on breaking up with him because of them. But how do you bridge the gap between your boyfriend and friends? As a very dry, sarcastic person, I've learned I need to tone it down when I first get to know people. It can be very off-putting. I don't like my friend's husband, but I told her as long as he makes her happy I will refrain from talking smack. I also had to be told she would like to vent about her husband without me looking like I want to punch him in the face. So any good friend will put aside their personal distaste to maintain the friendship. But as a side note, if all your friends don't like him, that's a red flag. I told my friend, "You're beastie and your mom don't like him, could we both be wrong?" She said yes, we are both wrong, and went through with it, but I would implore you to use the same logic. He wants to have a baby with me, but he doesn't want to marry me. We are in our late 20s, we have been together for almost 11 years. We know that we are each other's soulmates and we love each other. We already live together. One problem is, he won't marry me, but he's pressuring me to have a baby with him. I love children and I always wanted to have children. He's the only one I would have children with since we have been together for a very long time and we are in a good relationship and financially stable. Although, I don't believe in having kids unless we are married first. When I ask him why he wants to have a baby with me and not marry me, he just says that he's ready to have a baby with me and he wants a baby with me, but he doesn't want to get married so soon. He says we need to have a baby first and then he will think about proposing to me. He says I need to stop pressuring him on marriage because it's a big commitment and not just something we need to be doing out of the blue. My boyfriend also says that we are not getting any younger and he doesn't want to be old raising his kids. He just sees so many of his friends and family who are young, unwed and have a lot of kids and he wants that life as well. We are African American too, if that matters. A lot of the people in our community come from broken families, meaning they don't get married but have children. So sometimes I think he adapts to this mentality. My mom on the other hand is a very traditional woman born in Kenya. She is very angry that I moved in with him and we aren't married, and she said we got the order wrong. Her meaning, making babies and then maybe getting married. She said the correct order is, married and then have kids. Because of this reason my mom doesn't like my boyfriend and wants me to end it with him. I'm torn because I do want a baby but I do wish to be married first, but my boyfriend doesn't agree with my stance and I know I can't force him into marriage. I don't want to leave him, we've been together for 10 years, almost 11. I try to understand his view but I just don't get it. He has his contact name for me as wifey, but he doesn't want to put a ring on me. He tells me all the time I'm the love of his life. I don't believe in having kids unless we are married first. There is your answer. Stick to your beliefs. Be strong. This is your life and you need to live it the way you want. Kids are so much bigger of a commitment than marriage. I wouldn't back down or give in. Something about this just seems wonky to me. I wouldn't give in. What you should do I don't know, but his stance is idiotic. The baby is an even bigger commitment than marriage. If I were you, I don't think I'd agree to his plan. I'm torn because I do want a baby but I do wish to be married first, but my boyfriend doesn't agree with my stance and I know I can't force him into marriage. Stick to your guns. You're the one that's going to be carrying his child if you go through with this. My 27 male, fiancé, 27 female, is upset I missed dinner with her parents to take care of my son, 7. Last night, I was supposed to meet her and her parents for dinner. My son was sick that night, so his mom and I decided to take him to the hospital. I texted my fiancée telling her I was going to be late, and she said it was fine. After, I decided to stay with my son and his mom to take care of him. I genuinely forgot about the dinner, until she sent me several texts saying, "Wow, did you forget I existed? Why do you even need me when you already have a family?" Now she's ignoring my texts and calls. How do I fix this? How much did you actually communicate to her? Did you tell her you were taking your son to the Instead of, "I'm going to be late," the text should have said, "We're taking him to the so I'm not sure if I'll make it. I'll keep you posted," and then, actually kept her updated on the situation. Woozy face. I think this is more about the lack of communication versus you being able to show up. From her POV, it just looks like you are ignoring her. And she is not wrong, by the way. If this kind of behavior is not a one-time thing, she would be right to assume she is fairly low in your list of priorities. Enough to not even be bothered to contact. Can't trust my husband and he's resistant to change. Is the marriage savable? I will try to keep this as brief as I can. Bottom line is, my 35F husband, 37M, and I have some really big issues in our marriage that we just can't agree on or figure out how to work out. I hit a breaking point this week, where I felt strongly that no matter what he says, he won't do the hard work to make things better. A little over a year ago, I gave him an ultimatum that we needed to get couples therapy or separate. I went on his phone and learned that he was still in contact with a woman I'd found him inappropriately texting 6 years earlier. At that time he begged for forgiveness and swore he would cut off contact. I also found that he was messaging a lot on Facebook with his former college girlfriend. They dated 3 years until she cheated. And he kept from me that he was getting together with another former girlfriend for brunch when he was on an out-of-town trip to his hometown. He also has some explosive anger outbursts, and we haven't had sex in almost 4 years, since we conceived our daughter, who is about to turn 3. We went to 4 therapy sessions before we had to end because we moved cross-country to the Pacific Northwest in November. When I brought up finding a new therapist, he said therapy made him out to be the bad guy and basically said it was off the table. We compromised a few months ago and tried using the Lasting app. He did 3/5 parts of the first module and stopped participating. To his credit, he's been working on his anger and it has been much better, but there are occasions where he loses his temper. I also recently asked him if we can work on our sex life, and while he initially said yes, when I followed up and asked if he had any ideas, he got defensive and shut down. This week, I listened to a feeling that he was keeping something from me, and looked at his phone for the first time since our blow-up last year. I saw that the college girlfriend, who he told me he had talked to about cutting back on talking to, and my husband were messaging a lot. Like all throughout each day, every single day. While nothing seemed particularly inappropriate, though occasionally a little flirty, he speaks to her more frequently than I speak with anyone in my life, including him. I confronted him about it and he admitted they started talking again in February. Because he thought things were better between us. He was shocked at how bothered I was by this. His reasoning was, she was a friend before they dated, he doesn't think of her in a romantic way anymore, he doesn't have a lot of friends he can talk to, I didn't make it clear what level of them talking would make me uncomfortable, etc. It also came back to the fact that I have had issues with him having other female friends in the past. Eventually I said this is just the latest example of my feelings not being considered and my expressed needs not being met. Given the history of broken promises and unwillingness to follow through with therapy, I don't see how we can work through all this. I said maybe we should focus on co-parenting, which is what we do best, and he can talk to whoever he wants, not worry about fixing our sex life, and eventually end the marriage. He seemed gutted and I felt horribly guilty. Am I doing the wrong thing? He said therapy made him out to be the bad guy and basically said it was off the table. This is when you know the marriage is not salvageable. His pride is more important than the fact that his wife does not trust him. He won't admit he cheated and continues to cheat and has anger management problems. These are not only red flags, but they're also deal breakers. Your marriage is not salvageable. He isn't loyal. Bottom line, he just isn't. This isn't about female friends. This is about him refusing to let go of former lovers and needing constant female attention. This is about a lack of intimacy with you. This is about an explosive temper. He won't even go to counseling with you because he doesn't want to do the work. He's spinning it on you that you're just crazy and jealous and controlling. You're just wasting years of your life on a man who can never be a good partner or lover. Let him go and just be happy.